So.
Okay, I think it would be better probably for the other members of the team to explain the process. Otherwise, I just say what's before coming here.
Okay, so who is doing the talking then?
Is that me, or has somebody else? Why did I say that? We have the process divided in 3 steps over here. Actually, it's not chronological, so it's not deliberately put in this way. This is the pre-workshop stage, where people in their homes can have input, so outside the workshop area. There are this internet, extranet links between networks. When we talked about the workshop, we were talking about transparency a lot. We were talking about how do you show everyone's IDs. We came up also with a discussion on what is, because Fiat tries to design this as an open innovation process, but as it is a car business, it's not always that open. Although a lot is open. Yeah. That's what I understood. It's difficult to sum up. There's this feedback loop that should be involved in all the processes. You were talking about the experts, and it's important to involve the right type of experts in every stage of the process, but it's difficult to understand in which part of the process you can involve the expertise. The experts are important because if you're in this kind of innovation processes, sometimes you need an external expert to find the missing link. So this is the missing link, to get a new perception of the innovation process. Getting stuck. Oh yeah, this was during the process of talking about this innovation process. We opened and closed this window all the time, because sometimes it should be open and sometimes it should be closed, depending on what stage of the process you are.
We talked a bit about conflict resolution between team members as well. Not necessarily conflict as in they want to punch each other, but differences of opinion, if I understand it right. At different parts, you know, they all have different areas of expertise and they might have different opinions about how to solve a problem, but then how to actually bring a resolution between those people. We also talked about, again, the 3 different sort of areas about the different, the pre-workshop, workshop, post-workshop, and adjusting the parameters at each phase as we're going around to try and get to the end where you're actually doing the project, and how to pick the best sort of creativity inputting processes into each part of these phases. That's about it, from my understanding. Was that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. If I can add something, but I don't want to influence too much the brainstorm discussion and so on. So, the idea is okay. Our starting point is that we would like to start from problem, because the problem is a way to motivate people. If I have a problem and I need to solve the problem, I'm motivated to do something to solve the problem, and then I learn something about it. This is the idea. So we ask colleagues of us having a problem to come to us and say, okay, I have a problem. The problem could be, I need to have some new ideas, I have a goal and I don't know how to meet this goal, or I have something that is not working appropriately and I need to fix the situation and so on. They come and they ask, okay, how we could approach this problem. So first we start trying to better define the situation and to think which kind of competencies we need. And this is the expert area. So we need this kind of competencies that should be disseminated along the process, the creativity process, because probably we should need their contribution in some step of the process. And then we think about, okay, let's see if this problem is a problem that it is a short-term problem, so you need to not only to have good ideas, but also to implement those ideas in a short-term period. So you need some kind of a divergence, but also you need to be convergent very quickly. Or it is a middle-term kind of issue. So at the moment you just need to be divergent to have many different ideas and not to go. And then we decide which kind of people we need to help us to solve a problem. And depending on the kind of situation, it could be internal people, external people, or customers, or suppliers, and so on. It depends. And this is the kind of first decision. And then we need also to see if there are something that we should know before we approach the problem, because someone else, for example, in the company did something about the same kind of issue. So there is a sort of collection of information and then mapping of those information. When we talk about conflict, is because when we put all those people together to approach the problem, we are putting together variables that we say that are in trade-off. So it is not only a behavioral kind of thinking, because I'm a technician, I perceive the problem differently from the marketing guys, but it's because if I'm from marketing, effectiveness and closeness to the market is my most important variable. If I'm an engineer, the technical issue is important. If I'm from finance, I need also to know about the cost, and there is a trade-off. So if we have set in a sequence this trade-off, at the beginning we have the marketing people saying what the market needs, then they move to the technical people saying, okay, the market wants a car that is very fast, low consumption, low emissions, and so on, and then the technical say it isn't possible, so go back to the marketing, and there is this kind of conflict. If we put all together, then we can manage the conflict within this process by interaction and continuous adjustment, fine-tuning and adjustment. But to do that, there is another portion that was the kind of putting people together and making some kind of team building, because it is very important that those people perceive themselves as one team with the same kind of goal, so that at the end the solution is their solution and they are willing to implement that, they are accountable for them. So at the end, the process was, as they said, was thought as a sort of iteration with a different feedback, both within the specific problem, within the different people giving feedback to each other, but also because we could have similar problems in the company. So at the end, the process and the solution should become part of the learning of the company, so that another person in another part of the company with a similar problem could also start from the experience or the practices of the other person. So that was, generally speaking, the idea. And we had, and this is why there are so many things here, but not so many here, because we had at the beginning a discussion about the possibility to have, I don't know, it's a sort of software system, something that could let those people self-co-design the best process solution. Maybe they could be helped by a sort of checklist or something like this, and they say, okay, let me think a bit more about your problem. It seems that this problem is closer to another one, so I suggest you to invite this kind of people. I suggest you to use this tool. I suggest you to first have a remote-based session collecting this kind of information, and so on. So what we are looking for is to have a general format for this kind of process with different kind of components, and then having something that can help the owner of the process to combine those components in the best way for the best solution.